Hi, how are you doing today? This is Amy Hamilton, author of The Project Manager Life is a Project. Today, what I wanted to talk to you about is virtual teams. And a little bit of irony today is we were actually supposed to meet earlier, about an hour ago, and there ended up being some issues on Facebook over in the Americas. I posted a map of it on our project management page. And the irony in this is today's talk is going to be about virtual teams and hybrid teams. So when you think about life and you think about, okay, I want to create a virtual project team, this is how we're going to communicate. And, like today, I set up a meeting and then bam, the internet goes down. And it's just such a great object lesson. We're like, how do we conduct virtual communications in a world where we're so completely dependent on technology? And Facebook doesn't go down very often, so it was a bit of a surprise to everyone, and my apologies to everyone who was expecting this broadcast to be about an hour ago. But let's go ahead and let's get started, and let's talk about the different types of teams that we have. So there's 3 different types of teams I want to talk about, and that is the concept of physical teams. That's the teams that you're actually located with. And this is the kind of traditional project management that we've been able to do for many of us for most of our lives, because we didn't have this wonderful technology that interconnects us all the way across the globe. And when you talked about intercultural teams, a lot of it involved a lot of travel and involved different methodologies. But now, with modern technology, we can be right there. I can talk to you straight from my living room, straight from my friend's living room, from a hotel room, wherever I'm traveling in the world. And that is so amazingly exciting. And this is really where our teams have moved to. So on one hand, if you have physical teams, you're sitting there, you're in a room, a lot of times you're in the same building, you're always able to constantly interact. The other kind of team that you have then is these virtual teams. These are the teams where you're connected, you're completely talking by video. There are so many people out there right now. I'm seeing all of your likes. I'm tracking you guys as I'm also watching this. And it is so amazing to be able to just connect with people, but you never actually physically meet them. And then I want to talk about the next thing. And this is what really intrigues me. And I'm going to be sending out a survey later. And I really want to get different people's feedback. And that's this concept of hybrid teams. So when you look at the different teams that you kind of have out there, and you look at a hybrid team, you meet maybe once a year, twice a year, it all depends, but you physically get to meet people first, and you have that connection, and you're like, hey, how are you? My name's Amy. You get to shake hands. What's really phenomenal about the experience I have communicating with everybody on this page is I met Saeed completely virtually. He reached out to me as the project manager for this page. He said, Amy, I would love for you to be one of our contributors. I joined the page about a year and a half ago, and it's been phenomenal. But I've never had a chance to meet him in physical space or any of the other administrators, but we're able to communicate on the virtual team. But wouldn't it be great if just once we could get together someplace in the globe, meet physically, have a cup of coffee together? After all, who doesn't love coffee, right? So have a cup of coffee, have a glass of water, whatever it is, your beverage of your choice, and just talk and talk about where do we want the page to go? What do we want it to do? What do we want it to look like? We do similar things in the virtual team, but to me, it doesn't seem as effective. But then again, I'm of a bit older generation than some of the young people. So I really want to get that kind of feedback from people out in the community. Is what works better? Is it the physical team where you all sit on the table, where you can collaborate in that same building, in that same space? Is it that virtual team where you never meet people and you're just communicating with each other only through social media or only through virtual connections? Or is it this concept of the hybrid team? Is it the concept where maybe you meet once a year, twice a year? It doesn't really matter the amount, but you actually get that chance to look somebody in the eye, to talk to them, to shake their hand and have that shared experience with them. I'm interested in the feedback because what studies show is there's 2 primary things that are based on teams when it comes to how you can work together. And the first thing, and to me it's the most important thing that you have, is trust. And that's where this virtual team today impacted me a bit because Saeed trusts me. I said, hey, it's been a while. I'm going to go ahead and hold a session, and I'm really excited about it. And then I'm finally able to get back in line, and I have these messages from Saeed saying, hey, where are you? I trusted you to show up. I trusted you to come be on the page and contribute. Well, I broke that trust. On the other hand, did I break that trust, or was it social media that broke that trust? But you have to be able to trust people. You have to be able to trust when you're on a project team that they're going to deliver. So overall, I think Saeed's going to say, oh, it's a one-time thing. I understand Facebook was down, life happens, right? But how do you trust people on a virtual team? It's very easy when you're in a physical environment to know, okay, that's the person who's going to go ahead and they're going to deliver on time. I've worked with that person before. They have a good reputation. But what about when you have to trust someone on the other side of the world to deliver? Are you able to do that? Are you able to trust someone that you've never met before? I think that trust is a major concept when it comes to virtual teams. The other thing that you have to look at besides trust is presence. How much time are you willing to put in? A lot of times when you're in a physical space structure, we're able to communicate to each other. You see when people come into work, you see when they go to lunch, you see when they leave work, if they come in on the weekends, you have that physical interaction with them. But on a virtual team, how much time do you spend together? Do you just maybe have a chat room all the time open with each other where you can communicate? There's a lot of questions I have, and I'm throwing this out to you today a little different than some of our other formats because I'm giving you a lot of questions and I don't have the answers. So what I'm going to be doing is sending out a survey, and some of the questions that I have posed on the survey is, have you worked in a virtual team? Are you on a hybrid team? Are you on a physical team? And then based on those things, what is your level of trust and interaction with the other members on those teams? And I'm really curious. I'm really interested in getting this feedback from you guys. And then what I'll be doing is an analysis and getting it back out to you. Because virtual teams is such an important concept in today's society. It's no longer possible to be a project manager and not participate in virtual forums. Everyone out there today is participating as part of this virtual team concept. We're all in this together. We're all project managers. We've come online to participate in these forums. So the question is it better to do a virtual team, a hybrid team, or a physical team? And I'm really, really curious, and I'm looking forward to the feedback. One of the things I like to do for those of you who participate regularly on these is I go through the questions. So I'm going to go through and see what kind of questions we've had from the forum. And my apologies for this, having to lift the phone up while I'm looking at my computer. It was a little bit difficult today, as I mentioned, because with Facebook down and then having to scroll through, and it just kind of messes up your day a little bit when you deal with technology issues. And I think that that's something about virtual teams we have to consider is when we're in a virtual team, does it make us more or less productive? And I think that's a great question. So I see some of the different questions about the owner of the page. I am one of the co-owners of the page. Saeed was our founder, and he has done just such a tremendous job. We've got Waleed, we've got a couple other members, and what we're really trying to do at this point is to continue to grow the page, to continue to determine, the content, is the content valuable? We've had different questions asked to us before. We've talked about Prince versus PMP and which methodology you prefer. We've talked about earned value management. We've talked about agile methodologies. So we try to talk about different things when we're on these forums. And what's great now is it's November, and we are going to be talking through the month of December, the rest of this month, on what do we want to do for the next year? Where do we want this page to grow? So in your comment section, if you have stuff that you want to see added to us, if it's soft skills, if it's hard skills, for those of you who've listened to my broadcast before, I focus on IT project management with an emphasis in cybersecurity. It's really where my passion is. It's what my background is. On the other hand, we do have people here who are construction, who have a background in buildings, and they can talk to you about those things. But we really come together as a team. It's a wonderful opportunity because there's foundations in project management that really kind of traverse all project management. For example, today, what we're talking about when it comes to teamwork. And you can just imagine that before, when people had to build a building, it was completely supported with doing everything locally. But now maybe you're going to have an architect who's not even physically with you. I'm reading a lot of these questions on how to do time management on projects, questions on Agile. So we're going to come up with a great list for the next year. I appreciate everybody listening to me as we talked about physical teams, virtual teams, hybrid teams, the importance of trust, the importance of presence. I'm going to be getting that survey out, and please, if you have the time, take the survey and I'll be getting the results back to you. I appreciate everybody's understanding that this is a virtual team, and that with the Facebook outage that, we had a little bit of an issue getting to the point of the communication today. Thanks everyone for their time. Thank you to Saeed and the team. And once again, this is Amy Hamilton, author of The Project Manager, Life is a Project. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy your life, which is a project.